Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for January the 4th, 2010. Now our first trade for tonight is going to be a counter trend position. We've got an interesting dynamic here forming on the euro versus the Swiss franc. What I've started here is I've brought up the two currency futures on the continuous contracts to see what's actually happening. Now the euro here has been under pressure since the beginning of December. It's really taken a beating, but it's coming back now. China's involved. Number of different things happening. I believe the euro is going to recover at least in the short term. So what I'm seeing here now is I've got the long-term crossover from Vantage Point brought up, and I've split the screen so everybody can see this. The Swiss franc currency future is extremely overbought here. Now what we're looking at is a fresh crossover on the long-term crossover from Vantage Point, and we're going to play this as a counter trend position. We can see the Swiss franc is starting to weaken. It's pulling back where the euro is actually gaining strength. Today we've gone up as high as 133.94. There's still some resistance up there. The pullback though has been relatively shallow. In thin markets last night, I think we hit somewhere around the 132.60, 132.50 area, 132.48, excuse me. So there was lots of buyers sitting down there. So what I'm seeing here, what I'm expecting to happen is the Swiss franc will actually weaken and the euro will strengthen. The Swiss franc may not weaken right across the board, but I think it is going to against the euro. Now with that said, looking at this fresh crossover to the upside on Vantage Point, the best place for us to exploit this would be the euro Swiss franc currency pair. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to bring up the euro Swiss franc. Now that we've identified this dynamic that's taking place, we want to look for the opportunity to potentially buy some euros. Now looking at the euro Swiss franc currency pair, what we're going to do is we're just going to bring this up here. Now what we can see is a predicted true strength indicator from Vantage Point is in heavily oversold territory. It's running flat, as is the MACD, and it looks like it's getting ready to cross back to the upside. We can see that our predicted short, medium, and long-term differences are all pointing up. The short-term crossover is not completed yet, but it's very, very close. Now with the euro Swiss franc, this is going to be a volatile trade. It is going to be a counter trend position, but based on what we're seeing, there is some opportunity. So now looking at all this, we're now going to go into the daily report from Vantage Point, and we're going to look to see what we have for predicted highs and predicted lows, and we would like to see at least 100 pips on this trade. Now looking at the predicted high and predicted low for tomorrow, what we can see is I've brought this up so everyone can see it nice and clear. We've got 124.30 as the predicted low, 125.33 as the predicted high. The neural index is switched from a 1 to a 0, so we know it's going to move lower. Now looking at the close, we're going to bring this up just so we can see our closing position. Now with the close where it is, 124.70, we're looking for a little bit of a move to the downside, and from once we get that short move down to that 124.30 area, we're going to use that as a buying opportunity. From there, our target would be the 125.33 area where we would exit these long positions, even though I believe we have scope to move much higher towards the 127, 128, even the 129 area. It is a counter trend position, and we want to make sure that we get that profit and get it off the table, because it could just very quickly, a little bit of risk aversion, any more problems out of the Eurozone, this could turn on us very, very quickly. So counter trend position 124.30, we're based this trade solely off the Vantage Point predicted high and the predicted low, and the currency futures directly as to what's happening over there, the dynamic between the Swiss franc and the euro, and the fact that the euro is gaining strength across the board. Now our second position for tonight, we're going to be going into the stock market. Now the stock we're looking at here tonight is the AsiaInfo Holdings, the ASIA. That's a tough one to say. So We've got a fresh crossover starting to move. We can see that we've come through a period of consolidation here. We've got this crossover from vantage point to the downside. A couple of good retracements here. They failed. It's moved lower. Now, right here, the highs became higher and the lows became lower. And finally, we've got this break. So what we're going to do is have a quick look at some of these crossovers. The first one here we're looking at is the short-term crossover. We can see that this is broken higher. The medium-term crossover, same thing. It's run flat for about a week, and now it's moving up. Now again, we've got our long-term crossover is just breaking to the top side now. Now this one long candlestick, I would expect a retracement here. So now let's go in and have a look and really narrow this down. Now a couple of other things I really like here. The predicted true strength indicator from vantage point right down here is crossed over in heavily oversold territory. Now it's extending higher. The predicted MACD, same thing. The predicted medium and long-term differences are sitting at about just under the 50 mark, which is trend ready level. So this stock looks pretty good. Now what I also want to identify here are the key levels of support. They come in at 1686, 1687, and 1730. 1730 is likely the focus point for us for tomorrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in whenever we have a fresh crossover on the triple EMA cross like this, which is not quite complete because we can see that the 8 and the 18 day are stacked right on top of each other. The 1730 mark is the area that I like for this stock. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go in, do a look at the daily report, and I want to match it up and see if it agrees with that 1730 area. Now looking at the daily report, right here we can see 1751 is the predicted low from vantage point tomorrow. 1830 is the high. So we're looking for a very shallow pullback between 1751 and 1730 is where we want to look for those long positions. Now again, we're going to see some volatility. Whenever we see a large spike like that in one day, we're going to get a retracement probably of at least half. So that's going to put us somewhere between $17.50 and $17. So the 1730 mark is a reasonable area. So your more aggressive traders can go in at the 1751. Less aggressive traders, they can wait for the 1731 area. I think should suffice for tomorrow. So those are the market positions for January the 4th, 2011. And again, my name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com.